Shalom Havreim, James Trim here. And in light of recent events, the time of making this video is October of 2023. And of course, October 7th of 2023 is a day that shall live in infamy. It is the day that Hamas terrorists breached the wall and the border of the Gaza Strip, entered into Israel proper, and slaughtered well over 1,000. I think the current number is around 1,400 Jews. Today, I want to just briefly enlighten you how this fits into biblical prophecy, scripture, prophecy, the Book of Enoch, really, and how what all this can tell us about the Nephilim, the um, the Iranians, Hezbollah, the Nephilim, and Hamas. How it all fits together. So before we get going, I need to ask everybody to please donate to support this work. For those that don't know, my wife is disabled. She's chronically ill and suffers chronic pain, and I am her caretaker. So we need your financial assistance if you possibly can. And of course, you also then are supporting these videos and all the work that we're doing, and the work that we're doing on Hebrew and Aramaic New Testament research and restoration of the ancient original Hebrew and Aramaic New Testament. We recently discovered we recently I won't say discovered. It's been in a library, sitting in a museum, actually, I think, or a library, gathering dust for a long time. But Dr. Albert Garza obtained a copy of a manuscript of Matthew through Luke 17, and in Hebrew, and a handwritten manuscript, facsimile copy, provided that to me. I've done some analysis on it, and it appears to offer a new witness to the same type of Hebrew text of Matthew that we find in the Deuteronomy and Munster text. We've done previous videos about the Deuteronomy and Munster text. This manuscript sometimes agrees with Munster, sometimes agrees with Deuteronomy, sometimes it doesn't agree with either one. So it's a new manuscript of the same family. But the important thing is that this manuscript, those manuscripts, the Munster text and the Deuteronomy text, are just Matthew. This manuscript is a manuscript of Matthew, Mark, and Luke through the end of chapter 17. And unfortunately, the scribe never picked up his work after chapter 17 of Luke. He was copying from, according to the introductory material, a manuscript of the four Gospels. But unfortunately, he only copied through Luke 17, chapter 17. Anyway, we're doing work on that. So we now have a manuscript tradition for Mark and Luke, at least most of Luke, that is of the same text type, same family type of a Hebrew manuscript as Munster and Deuteronomy, which we have demonstrated in the past are descendants of the original Hebrew text of Matthew, and now descendants of the original text of Mark and Luke. Okay, I need to ask everybody to please donate to support this work. You can do that by donating by PayPal to donations at wnae.org, or by Zelle or GoFundMe, or by PayPal by going to the donations link in the video description. All right, and please like this video, subscribe to this channel, click the notification bell, share this with your friends on social media, and of course, let us know what you think in the comments and participate in the discussions in the comments. All these things are things that the YouTube algorithm looks at to decide which videos to recommend to new users. Okay, or new viewers. Sorry, not new users, new viewers. So I want to first look at, let's just talk generally about the Nephilim. In Genesis chapter 1, chapter 6, I'm sorry, verses 1 through 4, we read, "And it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and the daughters were born to them, the sons of Elohim saw the daughters of men that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. And Yahweh said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came unto the daughters of men, and they bare children unto them, the same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually." Um, this parallels the book of Enoch, chapter 6, um, starting in verse 1. "And it came to pass when the children of men had multiplied, that in those days there were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters, and the angels, the children of the heaven, saw and lusted after them, and said to one another, Come, let us choose wives from among the children of men to beget us children. And Shemikazah, who was their leader, said to them, Fear not, you will not indeed agree to do this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of a great sin. And they all answered him and said, Let us all swear an oath, and all bind ourselves by imprecations, that not any of us return from this council to do this thing. And then they all swore together and bound themselves by imprecations upon it. And they were all in all 200 who descended in the days of Jared on the summit of Mount Harmon, and they called it Mount Harmon because they had sworn and bound themselves by imprecations upon it. And these are the names of their leaders, and it goes on to name 20 leaders of tens for the 200 of them. So many videos that we've done in the past on the Book of Enoch. I don't want to go too much further onto that. This is generally the Book of Enoch. Okay. So there is a prophecy in the Book of Enoch in chapter 56, verses 5 through 6, that is especially relevant right now. It says, "And in those days, the angels," talking about the fallen angels, the Nephilim, the same fallen angels that we read about just now in Genesis chapter 6 and in the book of Enoch chapter 6. "In those days, the fallen angels shall return and hurl themselves to the east upon the Parthians and the Medes." The Parthians and the Medes, that's Iran. "They shall stir," that's Persia, okay, the Persians, that's modern Iran. "They shall stir up the kings, so that a spirit of unrest shall come upon them, and they shall rouse them from their thrones, that they shall break forth as lions from their lairs, and as hungry wolves among the flocks." And if you've heard what Hamas did, the terrible, horrible things Hamas did. I'm not even going to go into them in this video. I don't want YouTube YouTube might actually censor this video if I went too far into what they did, which you can find out in the news, and you can the horrific things that they did. Not since the Holocaust has such terrible things been done to the Jews. All right. "They shall rouse them from their thrones, that they may break forth as lions from their lairs, and as hungry wolves among their flocks. And they shall go up and tread underfoot the land of his chosen ones. And the land of his chosen ones shall be before them a threshing floor and a highway. First Enoch, chapter 56, verses 5 through 6. This is telling us the fallen angels will return. They will throw themselves upon Iran, the Iranians, the Persians, and the Medes, and they will stir up the kings and rouse them from their thrones, that they may break forth as lions from their lairs and hungry wolves among the flocks. It's important to realize that Hamas is virtually a puppet of Iran. It's an instrument of Iran. They have been allied with Iran. Their weapons have been supplied by Iran. Uh, they are an Iran proxy. Hezbollah is even more of an Iran proxy across the northern border. This is an Iran proxy war. Iran is behind the whole thing. And there's a whole element of biblical prophecy there too, because there is a new alliance of evil, new axis of evil of Russia, Iran, China, and North Korea. And let us not forget, we've done a video about who Russia is in biblical prophecy. You can go back and watch that video on that. But what I want to talk about right now is this Iranian proxy war on Israel, of which Hamas is an instrument, and how Hamas broke forth as lions from their lairs and hungry wolves among their flocks, and treading upon under their feet the land of the chosen ones, the land of Am Yisrael, the land Eretz Yisrael, the land of Israel, and like animals. And I shouldn't insult animals, because animals usually are not vicious without any cause whatsoever. These are just pure evil, and pure evil because this is the work of the Nephilim. And let me show you how this is the work of the Nephilim that ties in with this prophecy, 1 Enoch 56, 5 through 6. How is it? In what way will the Iranians stir up the leaders, stir up the kings? Which leaders? The leaders of Gaza. Okay. Why do I say the leaders? They're stirring up somebody else. They're not doing it. They're stirring up somebody else. And the somebody else that they stir up, they're a proxy for. They are the ones that break forth as lions from their lairs and hungry wolves among the flocks. And what better description of the animal-like behavior of Hamas on October 7th, 2023. Genesis chapter 6 again, verse 11, talking about this same time period where the Nephilim corrupted the earth. And it says, the earth also was corrupt. This is verse 11. The earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth, or Elohim, and the earth was filled with violence. And the word violence there is Hamas. You see, the violence of the Nephilim is described in Genesis chapter 6, verse 11, with the Hebrew word Hamas. This is very interesting because the Arabic word Hamas, which is the source of the group known as Hamas, is the Arabic word Hamas. And in Arabic, the word Hamas means to be mighty, to be manlike. But in Hebrew, it means to be violent or violence. Okay, so in Arabic, it means manliness. But in Hebrew, it means violence, and it is a word that is actually found in the Torah, and it's found here in the Torah to describe the work of the Nephilim, the fallen angels. So it is very interesting when we know that the work of the fallen angels is literally described as Hamas. When we see that we have this prophecy in 1st Enoch chapter 56, 5 through 6, that the Iranians, the Nephilim will fall upon the Iranians, and that the Iranians will stir up the kings and the leaders, and a spirit of unrest will come upon them, and they will rouse themselves from their thrones. They will break forth as lions from their lairs and hungry wolves among their flocks. And that violence is called in the scriptures Hamas, in reference to the very Nephilim that are being described here. So be aware. This is the work. Hamas and the Iranian proxy war on Israel is the work of the Nephilim. It is Hamas. It is violence. It is the violence of the fallen angels described in Genesis chapter 6, verses 1 through 4, and then verse 11, and in the Book of Enoch, chapter 6, and other chapters of the Book of Enoch, by the way, and in the Book of Enoch, chapter 56, verses 5 through 6, when we learn that in the last days, and the last days can extend for a long time, by the way, but in the last days, that the Nephilim will throw themselves upon the Iranians, and the Iranians will stir up a third party of some type to break forth like animals upon Israel, and in an incursion on the land of Israel with Hamas. Okay. Once again, I want to remind everybody to please donate to support this work and to help out myself and my family. And you can do that by clicking on the donate link in the video description, or by sending donations by PayPal to donations@wnae.org. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, click that notification bell so you'll get notified when new videos come out. Let us know what you think of this video in the comments. Participate in the video discussions in the comments section. And you can donate by PayPal, Zelle, or GoFundMe by clicking on the link in the video description, the donate link. And please share our video on YouTube. I'm not on YouTube, it's on YouTube. Share it on Facebook and on the network formerly known as Twitter, and any other social media where you participate. Shalom, everybody.